Hello, my name is Scott Nichols. I developed for my senior project a mobile application named FamilyShare. FamilyShare is a mobile application that allows family members to share temple cards with each other, thus making it possible for ancestors' temple work to be done in a more collaborative way. This is done by the temple card PDFs being shared to a central location that any family member can grab from. During this presentation, I will show and demonstrate to you the requirements that enable FamilyShare to have become a reality. I've generalized these requirements into three different categories that I will be explaining to you. These categories are 1. Sharing ancestors' temple work, 2. Reserving an ancestor's temple work, and 3. Printing an ancestor's temple work. Unrelated to temple work, but I will also demonstrate it, is the process of logging a user into the application. Through the development process of FamilyShare, I learned a lot of great methodologies and a lot of great things. A lot of these technologies were a great learning process for me, and because of it, my love of developing mobile applications has been developed more, and I want to keep on going with it. Enumerated, these technologies are the iOS PDF Kit, iOS File Manager, AlamoFire HTTP Request API, iOS Table View Architecture, iOS Layout Design, including image manipulation, Amazon Web Services, Heroku, Postgres and SQL, and the iOS Print Manager. It is my hope that you enjoy this presentation of the FamilyShare application, version 1. First, I will explain the process of sharing an ancestor's temple work. It all starts here right at the app. A user downloads a reserved ancestor's temple card from Family Search. And once that temple card is imported into the app, the process begins. The app parses essential information for the ancestor, such as an ancestor's name and the ordinance that is to be reserved, that is to be made available. That information and the PDF is sent via a request to the server, and the server saves the PDF in Amazon Web Services, and it saves that information in the database. Once that is all finished, the server then sends a request back to the app of the newly made available ancestor, and the app updates itself, showing the new available ancestors. I will now demonstrate the ancestor sharing and available requirements. I'm going to open the app, and when I do, a list of available ancestors will be downloaded from the FamilyShare server. Here are the list of available ancestors that were downloaded from the server. Now, I want to share an ancestor's temple work that is not currently on the FamilyShare application. So, I'll go to the Family Search app to download that individual's temple card. I'm going to download Charlie Cook's endowment. So I'll take him to the temple and do his endowment. I select the FamilyShare file folder and I save it. Now Charlie Cook's temple card is saved in the FamilyShare file folder. Next, let's go back to the FamilyShare application and press Share. Here's Charlie Cook's card. Let's select it. And there you go. Charlie Cook is now shared and available to be reserved by anyone using the application. Now, I will show you the process related to reserving an ancestor's temple work in the FamilyShare application. On the app, a user sees an available ancestor. The user selects an available ancestor that he wants to reserve, and the user makes a reservation request. In that reservation request, the user sends his user ID and the ancestor that he wants to reserve to the server. The server checks that, in fact, the user does not have this ancestor reserved already, and the database is updated now to reflect the change that the user wants to reserve this ancestor. The server sends a signal back to the app that the user has reserved this ancestor, and the app updates itself, removes the ancestor from available ancestors, and puts it onto the user's reserved ancestors. The requirements for reserving an ancestor are FSC-8, FSC-9, FSS-3, FSS-4, FSS-7, and FSS-10. I will now demonstrate the ancestor reservation requirements. Here we see a list of available ancestors. I want to do the temple work for Charlie Cook, so I select his name and press the reserve button. Now I see that a new name has appeared in the reserve tab. Let's go see what it is. So here I see that Charlie Cook was in fact reserved. The last requirement group that I will demonstrate to you is the printing procedure for FamilyShare. On the app, a user sees a reserved ancestor. The user selects this ancestor and presses print. When this happens, a request is made to the server to retrieve the temple work PDF for this ancestor. So a request is made to Amazon Web Services, and the PDF is sent back to the server. The server sends back the PDF file to the app. Once on the app sends a request to a printer that the user selects, and the printer prints out the temple PDF. The user can now take that temple card that was just printed from a printer to a temple and perform the sacred ordinances for that ancestor. The requirements for this process are FSC-3, FSC-6, and FSS-5. I will now demonstrate the printing requirements. Here we see a list of my reserved ancestors. After reserving Charlie Cook's temple card, I would like to print his temple card out. To do this, I select his name and press print. I see the option to print and I press it. From here, I select a printer and press print. Alright, so we just pressed print and the ancestor is going to be printed out. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It actually printed out, and I'm glad. Thank you. I will now explain how a user can log in and the workflow related to this process. A user enters their username into the app, and this username is sent to the server. The server sends a request to the database to make sure that that username is in the database. If it is, a user ID is sent back to the server, and that user ID is sent back to the app. Once the app has a user ID, a user can make any request to reserve an ancestor or to share an ancestor. But without a user ID, a user cannot make any request. The requirements covered in this process are FSC-11 and FSC-12. I will now demonstrate the signing in procedure. I enter my username in this field and press sign in. I'm now signed into the app. To sign out, I simply press sign out. Now I cannot make any request to the server as shown.